The expected melee that comes with a small, confined street course inevitably worked its way through the field, and many drivers limped home last week. Coming back to a modern Grand Prix facility is a welcome change, but it brings its own challenges. A technical and sweeping layout will mean the differences between the classes will be all the more exacerbated. We'll see who manages the adjustment as we get ready to watch Round 9 of the iRacing Kamel GT series. And you'll see it all live here on the Global SimRacing channel. Hi, I'm Joe Peak, and with me in the booth is Adam Lindgren. Behind the scenes is our director, Sean Crackers Ambrose, and he's using cameras provided by Dougie Beard. Barcelona is the first Spanish circuit here on the iRacing service. To learn more about its significance, let's head to our track guide. Welcome to Circuit de Barcelona. The home of the Spanish Grand Prix for nearly 30 years, it's easy to forget that this is a relatively recently built track in Europe. It's known for its long, sweeping corners and hosts the highest level of open wheel and motorcycle racing. Placing an emphasis on a good aerodynamic setup with high downforce cars, it's often overlooked that it offers plenty of overtaking for lower tier racing as well. In fact, most don't take into account that this adaptable track has 5 different layouts to choose from. These range from the nearly 3-mile-long Grand Prix version to the minuscule 1-mile club circuit. Because of the pit straight being the longest acceleration zone, Elf is the most likely spot for drivers to get a pass done. After that, your next hope might be into Lotus, which, depending on which layout you use, could be a sharpened set of 2 turns or one long hairpin with an opening radius. In the early 2000s, a chicane was added close to the end of the lap, but the old Europe car corner can still be run. The Spanish fans have some gorgeous views from the many hills dotted along the track. And with the international fame this place has built over time, it's no wonder they're almost always full come race day. Well, even though Spain is, of course, Barcelona is a modern Grand Prix circuit, as I described. Adam, today they're going to try the historic circuit.
Yes, they are. The Circuit de Barcelona-Catalunya is a vastly different circuit than any other place that Kamel's visited this season, really. It's 13 turns over 2.94 miles or 4.73 kilometers, feature plenty of runoff, as well as a wide track surface. That's perfect, you may be thinking. It should be easy for them. Well, how wrong you would be. Honestly, this track is built for high downforce machines, but it features one of the longest straights of the year as well on the front stretch, meaning you don't want to dial in too much downforce. The GTPs, of course, will have the best time, but with their antiquated aero kit, their success will be contingent on how they manage the left rear tire temperature and wear over the course of the lap, and if they manage to stay off the frustratingly high curbs at the apexes. The Audis, well, they hate this place. While last week's race at Detroit was almost built for them, this is the polar opposite, and the front tire wear management will be the name of the game when it comes to managing pace today. Also, just because it's a wide track doesn't mean it's not a horror for multi-class. With such a massive lap time difference, the Nissans are going to be in quite a hurry to get past the Audis, and every turn here is a danger zone. The best places to get around the Audis is into Lotus and on the front stretch, and the Nissans will have to be very careful of the Audi's tendency to push wide on the apexes at this track. All in all, Joe, this isn't exactly a driver favorite track, but it does produce some interesting results.
And, well, we've got some interesting results for this season in the championship, too, as we look at the prototype points here after the 8 rounds that we've run. Fabian Gerber only 11 points ahead of Nick Schneider, but momentum is in his favor as he's won the last 2. And Jamie Hall sits back there in 3rd with a very tight fight with Nick Mukanos, which we understand those two have got a bit of a beef going. Cy Andra is actually tied on wins with Fabian Gerber, but Cy just hasn't been able to once again get his whole season together. So those 3 wins don't mean for much if he can't continue to finish up towards front like Fabian has. Meanwhile, we have the GTO Championship, which has been, well, a little one-sided.
Yeah, Yuko Leskala is now almost 2 full wins ahead of Yoni Kaishin. Now, granted, this is before the drop weeks get factored in, but even so, it's got to be really hard for Yoni to close the gap, especially with Yuko's consistent, well, quite frankly, winning that he's been doing here in this series. He has 6 wins over Yoni's 2. So it's going to be very difficult for Yoni to close that gap if he can't be beating Yuka Leskala over the last couple of rounds. But the battle for third, still quite a cracking battle. Only 9 points separate third to fourth, and then another 9 from fourth to fifth. And if that looks very interesting, you see new names down there. That's because they are new. Reed Miller's back up into the top 5, with Maximete Thomason being knocked out after last week, and Miguel Castro also being knocked out, but they're still in the fight. So third is totally up for grabs, Joe.
At least the mid-pack is going to give us some interest here. As we take a look at the race details for today's event, it is a 40-minute sprint race, and they have an open setup in the series, which means anything that they could do on the real cars, they can do here in the sim to tweak them to their liking. However, they have no spare car waiting for them, so that fast repair means, the lack of fast repair means that the drivers will have to come in to the pits if they have too much damage that they can't feel they can continue. Now, the incident points, remember those paved runoffs? Well, if they abuse those runoffs too much, they rack up incident points, and that means they'll get a drive-through penalty. So they have to stay within the racing bounds, and they could even get a disqualification if they get up to 25 in this 40-minute event. Right now, we just got the first few times starting to trickle in from our prototypes in the qualifying. Nick Schneider going to be the first one to set the mark of a 28.93, and the rest start to come across the line. See if anybody can go quicker than him. In fact, looks like the Gerber brothers once again looking at a potential front row for the pair of them.
Yeah, great laps from them as well. Tobias's qualifying has been absolutely impressive this entire season, and it's awesome to see him do that. Now at this point, he just needs to work a little bit on his consistency during the races to keep that going. Here's Yuka Leskala, though, coming around to complete his first time lap. He's going to be setting probably the bar for the guys to beat here. 140.607 does put him on provisional pole, and almost a full second ahead of Devin Dane, who's in second place right now.
Watch Miguel Castro bring it out of New Holland and down to the line. He crosses at a 41.5. That's going to put him onto the front row, but still 9/10 off of Leskala. What about Reed Miller? Can he manage something a little bit quicker? A 41.907. That's going to put him down in fourth. Now I'm watching Joni Kaisinen in the number 1. Is Joni able to try and challenge his rival? Hovdal puts it into second, so he's found some pace here today. A 40.989 is going to put Joni closer than anybody to Yuko, but still not ahead of him.
Yeah, almost 4/10 separating them, so that's quite a big gap. Here's Nicholas Wakanos' second lap. It's actually a bit quicker, but it doesn't look like it's going to count, unfortunately, for him, so he probably got an off track. I just don't think it's pretty easy to do around here. Cy Andra, though, putting in a lap here, a 128.361 for Cy. That only puts him in 6th place, but look at that. Tobias Gerber going up to the positional pole right now, and he beats out his brother Fabian.
Wow. Tobias has got to feel good about that one. It was 2 100ths between the pair of them. As we now see Kazan come across the line. He's one of those that has not put a time in yet. His first one, a 42.5, will get him within the top 10, but just barely.
And there's a big speed disparity between the top of the Audis and the bottom of the Audis, to be honest. It's about 3.5 seconds, so look for that to be affecting the GTPs as they race today. Here's Ward Watkins, a name we haven't seen in the season so far. He's going to cross the line with a 142.851, but it looks like that one's not going to stick either, probably an off track. Miguel Castro, though, trying to improve from 4th position. He's got Reed Miller to beat up ahead of him, as well as Miguel Castro and Joni Kaishin. Miguel puts it actually to 2nd place. Here's Reed Miller, currently down in 7th after everyone finishes their second laps. Reed, a 141.282, puts it back into 4th.
Wow, so things are incredibly tight, not just in the points in that mid-pack, but also in the qualifying. Hideki Koivisto down in the line on his second lap is a 31.2. That's a pretty good improvement, but he stays in 16th in spite of that. Watching Syandra cross on my screen, and he actually goes up to 4th. So the number 2 car manages a little bit better, but still has some cars to pass. Letten Yemi, looks like he is going to stay in 8th place here on that second lap. No, it's up to 7th, it looks like, on his second.
Yeah, but here's Roman Pawlowski, who just got bumped out by Esko. Let's see whether or not Roman can put in a better lap time. And Roman does, jumps up to 5th. So these second laps are definitely producing better results for the Audis as the tires get warmed up here. We'll talk about the weather before we go racing today, but it is going to be a factor today.
Is on across the line, a 41.9, about half a second quicker. And that'll jump him from 15th to about Laust Olsen. On his second lap, he waited a long time to get out there, so he'll be one of the last to cross. It is a 28.7, another half-second improvement, but for him, it's only up 1 spot on the grid.
And Matthias Hovdal is another driver who is only starting their second lap, currently in 3rd position in the GTPs. This is Mark Ole as he's coming around for the second time, but here's Hovdal here. Matthias in 3rd position after just 1 lap. This could change things if he can get across the line in time, but I'm not sure he's going to have enough time to get there, Joe.
No, I don't think he will. We've only got 30 seconds left, and there's still quite a few corners to go. I think we can write this one off.
What could have been, Joe?
Yeah, man. Looking quick. Now, he likes to trim out the car, too, so you have to wonder if he does have a lot less wing, and maybe he could challenge the Gerber brothers up at the front. But in the meantime, it looks like our grid is set. Let's go through our starting order for today. Tobias Gerber managing to put it on pole ahead of his brother, our championship leader, Fabian Gerber. But can he win this race, which he's failed to do so far here on the broadcast, at least up till today? He'll get another chance. Matthias Hovdal will start in 3rd with Cy Andra managing 4th. I think he didn't get his second lap in. No, he did get his second lap in, so that's as good as he can do. Nick Mukanos will be P5 with Peter Smith starting from 6th today. Jamie Hall starts P7 with Nick Schneider in 8th. Phil Lake all the way down in 9th today. Once again, struggling a little bit here in the Nissans. Laust Olsen up to 10th for him with Neil Andrews starting 11th. You've got Stephen Warkup in P12 after a good result last week. Heitor Sintes Guindo was 13th and Joseph Mudrak 14th. Then you've got Guy Diotero starting in 15th. Hideki Koibisto starts 16th, followed by John Ricard in P17. Then it is Cam Porter in 18th and Don Peak in 19th, with a few drivers failing to put laps in the prototypes. Marty Ollie, Carlos Fonseca, and Mark Materne.
Yuko Leskola takes pole in the GTOs with Miguel Castro lining up beside him. Yoni Kaishin's going to land behind Yuko Leskola on the first in row 2 next to Reed Miller. Then we have Roman Pawlowski and David Dane starting in row 3. And then Christian Streitenberger starting in 7th with Esko Letanimi 8th. Ove Trangarete's going to start off in 9th. Not a good qualifying for him, with Jose Manuel Cazon starting off in 5th position. Robin Happich is going to start off in the 11th spot with Brian Shanahan in 12th. Ben Lafter's going to start off 13th with Peter Misarek next to him. Then we have Jamie Hamill-Smith and Pablo Rangel rounding out 16 spots. And we have Mark Ole starting off at 17th, Fran Toledano in 18th, Berg Treidler 19th, and Oren Laskin rounding out your top 20. Mike Tupola is going to start off in 21st. A really poor qualifying for him, unfortunately, with Ross Banfield next to him. Alexandre Caldeguez is going to start off in the 23rd position, with Warren Watkins 24th, rounding out your 46-car field today, Joe.
Quite decent-sized fields. Thankfully, it is something of a long lap around here, so drivers will spread out and have some space to race as they come around Europe Car and into the final 2 corners. Porsche pace car will release Tobias Gerber, but can he hold ahead of his very fast brother, as well as guys like Hovdal and Andra, both of them hungry for victories? Giving control to Tobias. He's on it immediately out of the corner. Green flag is out for round 9 of the Kamel GT series. Tobias holding the middle of the track, but he's giving his brother a big slipstream, so he has to go defensive. Here comes Andra and Hovdal as well. Both of them braking hard into the first corner and around the outside of Elf. It looks like Fabian immediately is going to snatch the lead away from his brother.
Miguel Castro in the GTOs actually got a jump on Yuko Leskola, who's really under threat now from Yoni Kaishin, who's diving up the inside. Yuko's going to let Yoni go, actually, so this puts Yuko down to 3rd position. Miguel Castro leads for possibly the first time this season here as we go through 3.
What a start from Miguel Castro. He is on it today. This is going to be a tough ask to keep Kaishin and Leskola behind him, though, as they come around into turn 4. And as they brake hard, heading downhill, someone way
big collection in the back. That's right. That was Peter Misarek and Ben Laughter and Escaleta Niemi who went in.
Let's see, Laughter off course and Letaniemi returning back to it. Unfortunately, Banfield as well. Looks like he may have got a little bit collected. Meanwhile, look at this. Up at the front, Kajanen managing to get through into the lead while we were distracted by the incident. Castro now into second place. Reed Miller making it a 4-car train for the top spots in the GTOs.
You saw that pass on screen here on GSRC. A great move from Yoni Kajanen to get past Miguel Castro. Yuko Leskala on the other. Oh, look at this. Yoni Kajanen actually locks it up going into Lakaja. Miguel Castro is very hungry to try and get up there, but he can't cut the corner too much or else he's going to be in trouble. But look at this. Yoni looking a little unstable there. He has a little bit too much front brake bias, I think, and I saw this during his qualifying as well. He has to get those tires up to temperature in order to save this thing out, but Yuko Leskala now challenging Miguel Castro for second.
That was Streitenberger who went off track in Lakaja. You saw in the background, lost a few spots out of that. Back onto the front stretch though, and the battle for second is on yet again, this time with Leskala to the inside of Castro, coming down into Elf. He's got the desired line. Miguel does not fight it too hard, breaks a little bit early, but off track our leader. Kajanen finds himself in the runoff. He might have a slowdown penalty from this. The lead goes right back to Leskala.
And now it's side by side for second place between Castro and Kajanen. Kajanen's trying to hold on the outside, but that's not going to work here in the Audi. It might in the downforce car, but not for the Audi. Reed Miller's going to dive it up the inside and make it past it. Oh my goodness, Roman Pavlowski gets held up a little bit. That's going to make an opportunity for Devin Donnie, who's going to dive to the inside of Roman Pavlowski. These Audis holding each other up here. Look at this battle between Roman and Donnie as they go in behind Kajanen. That's so close there. Ooh, tough stuff there. We've had a wreck in the GTVs though. Nicholas Steyer's gone off.
And Yoni definitely looks like he's got a slowdown penalties. He gives up more spots. Pavlowski going to get 4th out of that. And it looks like Donahue settles for the top 5. This is the most passing I think we've ever seen in the GTOs at this track. This is crazy.
And especially even this season, Joe, that's not been that tight of a battle, especially from the front of the pack. Oh, we've had a car off there across the exit of 9. That was a tough break for them. Brian Shanahan just going by. I believe that was Pablo Rangel who went off. Man, tough racing here, but look at this. Look at this. Roman Pavlowski and Devin Donnie. Donnie trying to do the over-under on Pavlowski as they go through the final corners.
Into Europe car. He's got the inside. There's that understeer we talk about. Pavlowski, unfortunately, way off. No! Get hit by Kajanen. Oh, my goodness. Yoni starting off so well and unfortunately winding up in the barriers even before they finish lap 2.
And unfortunately, that's probably the end of his championship hopes here for Yoni Kajanen as he recovers. We're going to do a quick replay of this one, but this was a championship-defining moment.
Well, we had talked off air that we expected some Dirty Torque drivers to have maybe a bit of a rough race, but I didn't expect it from Yoni.
No, not at all. Yoni Kajanen just takes it too deep into the corner, ends up cleaning out Roman Pavlowski, unfortunately. So Roman able to keep it more or less off the wall. It's not going to be too much damage, but Yoni Kajanen's going to have some front left damage that's going to slow him down for the rest of the race.
So as we come back live, Laughter in a bit of a battle with Pavlowski. Now, I saw Laughter mention that he thought he was going to have a difficult day, a drop week. Looks like he might be able to get a position. Here we go. And he's able to sneak by Pavlowski doing the over-under through Sayot. That'll get him up in the 19th after he recovers from his incident on the first lap.
Now, this Audi battle has been very intense throughout the race. We haven't even touched on the GTPs yet. It's just so much intense battling in the GTOs as we see up ahead of these guys. That's Escaleta Niemi, Burke Treidler, and Warren Watkins who are battling for position. And whoa, that's a good move there. This is Ove Traeger trying to go to the inside of Devin Donnie.
Devin shuts the door down into Europe car. So as they come towards New Holland, both of them focus their efforts on trying to get the best exit possible on the longest straight on the track. But I think Trangrade's got a better run. Looks like he's going to gain in the slipstream. Looks to the inside as Donahue does not defend. He leaves the door open. They're going to have to brake hard down into Elf, but Devin is good on the binders. Maybe an over-under in store for him? No. It it looks like fourth place will go to Trangarade.
And Trangarade covers off the inside, which is exactly what we need to do here on the Audis. These Audis cannot go around the outside of 3. It's just too long, too far, and it warms up those outside tires too much. So that job is done, but Devin Donahey's not gonna leave over Trangarade alone.
An update because a lot has changed in the top of the field here in the GTOs. Leskala still leads. Castro is now back into second, and Miller has been promoted to third. This is the battle for P4 with Trangarade recently having overtaken Donahue, and behind them, that is Kazan and Streitenberger now getting involved.
Absolutely, two of our newer names to the series here on the Camel series on GSRC. Streitenberger actually gets a good exit right behind Kazan, and wow, this is now a 4-car fight for fourth. Ooh, Streitenberger with a great run off the corner. He's going to go to the inside of Kazan here as they head towards Lakaja.
He's got a great opportunity. Out of Kampsa, he finds himself with an advantage. Oh, but as they swing it through Lakaja, it's going to come back in favor of Kazan. No, he cuts him off and up in front of him. Looks like Donahue, is finding himself struggling in the slower corners. Locks him up a little bit.
Oh, and we have to go to our battle in P2 for the GTPs because Tobias Gerber just went from second down to sixth because of a slow Audi as they are approaching Lakaja. Tobias is just hemorrhaging positions right now, Joe.
And this is just the story of his season. Very quick in the qualifying. We're going to watch and see how it works out for him.
Yeah, so it's going to be approaching right here as they go through 7, 8, and 9. He's not going to get the Audi before they reach 7. He almost has to stop on track, and the Audi is just going to be swapping lanes as he needs to do. I mean, there's nothing that Tobias could do there, but there's nothing the Audi could do either.
Let's see, Andre Hofdahl and Smith all managed to overtake him in that. In the meantime, Hofdahl has been putting pressure on Andra, who we ride on board with right now. This is the number 2. Now we look from this gearbox at Matthias. What a race for the number 9. This is not the track I would have expected him to prove strong at, but clearly he's figured out some sort of trick.
Well, Matthias has been able to maintain his position. Andre's the one I'm impressed with. He's gone up from 5th position up to the 2nd spot, but the trouble is he doesn't seem to be able to get through the corners quite well enough right here. So Hofdahl and Andre, they're both bantering before the race about each other's qualifying, but this is going to be a battle we're going to have to keep our eyes on. And they're actually catching Fabian Gerber as Fabian's navigating through traffic now.
Oh, and Donahue just lost 2 spots. I think he must have had an issue. Looks like he struggled coming through the middle part of the circuit. Both Streitenberger and Kazan pretty quickly overtook him. Meanwhile, we stay in this battle here for second as they go by more traffic. That's Banfield who gets out of the way. Up next, it's going to be Treidler down to the inside of Europcar. Wow, that was tight. And I think that actually put Andra a little bit offline. Now he's going to have to check up coming off of New Holland. That gives a great opportunity for Hofdahl as they fly down the inside of all of our GTOs battling for our top 5 positions. That actually cut off, I think, Kajanen braking hard into Elf, and still no change of position.
Just a little bit of ghost contact there between Cy Andre and Matthias Hofdahl that got Cy a little bit upset going into the braking zone. Fortunately, Cy was able to hang on to it. He almost made contact with the back of Ben Laughter, but was able to avoid that.
Oh
my goodness.
That was Mukanos. Mukanos getting tripped up by the GTO traffic and having a massive run into the wall. That was Warren Watkins. I wondered about that move as I started to see it envelop. Watch this. He tries to thread the needle, and unfortunately...
Yeah, I just pushed a little bit too wide. Ended up crossing the nose of that Audi and gets sent straight into the wall. That's going to be race-ending damage for Nick Mukanos. Unfortunately, his bad season just continues.
Just an unfortunate decision that he had to make in a split second, and it cost him. Back to Donahue, and he's not giving up on Kazone as they come around and through Box Sabadell. He's going to get that one back. Great move by Devin.
Now the question is, can Kazone get a good run onto the front stretch? He might not need to. He's going to look to the inside through 13. No, he's not. He actually clips a little bit of the inside apex. So that's going to allow Donahue to run away with it a little bit as long as he's got enough of a trimmed out car, and it looks like he does. Give Donahue that position solidly up to 6th.
behind them.
Oh, we've had a wreck between Laust Olsen and Aitor Sintes Guindo in the GTPs.
Oh, no. And this looks like this is coming through the final turn, which is a very fast corner. I think this starts with Olsen.
It does. Clips the grass right on the outside there, ends up spinning across the track in the path of Aitor, and Aitor gets a little bit of target fixation actually, and spears off straight towards him.
I think he's just trying to lock up the brakes, and well, when you do that, the car's just going to go straight. It's not going to turn.
Oh, and can we go to the battle for 12th and 13th once we get out of this replay between Hideki Koivisto and Guy Diotero? They have been cutting and slicing through, and here's another. Yeah, this is 12th and 13th for the GTPs between Hideki Koivisto and Guy Diotero. They've been cutting through this Audi field very, very quickly, but unfortunately, Hideki's about to catch up to Joni Kaisen as they go through 7, 8, 9.
And Pawlowski and Laughter in there as well. Wow, it is an absolute gaggle of cars. This is not what they wanted to see in one of the more technical portions of the circuit. They'll be able to sneak off to the right-hand side, at least for the time being. What about the battle up in front of them as Laughter's trying to go to the inside of a few cars, and they're going to have to try and make quick decisions here. Off to the right-hand side, is Pawlowski to be able to let him through? Yes, he is, but they unfortunately get chopped off by Toledano now.
This is the trouble with the GTPs. They're having to figure out their way through this Audi traffic that's really slowing them down. While Guy Diotero's going to take away the apex from Toledano, but now they're onto the straightaway. They should be able to battle with each other and also get past these Audis pretty effectively. Let's see whether or not Guy tries to make a move here as they go into one.
Looks quick in a straight line. He's going to try and thread the needle under braking. He manages to work his way through. Fantastic move by Guy.
That was an unbelievable move. Guy's going to be able to get that position done. He's going to be able to hang on to it as he sweeps around the outside of 3. Something possible to GTPs, but not in the GTOs. I can report that Nicholas Schneider has had connection issues, unfortunately, so he's out of this race now, Joe.
Oh, that hurts his championship all the more as they are dealing with a car off as well as multiple cars in front of them. Guy trying to keep out of Marco Lay. Looks like he'll get that one done. Oh, no, he's going to be squeezed down into vert, which is usually not a too wide corner. Thankfully, nothing disastrous comes of it.
That was very close stuff, and that's actually held up Koivisto behind, so this battle, unfortunately, is going to be done. Koivisto now 1.5 seconds back.
Man, it just goes to show that even these battles in the mid-pack are just as important in both the GTOs and prototypes. Speaking of which, Tobias Gerber not giving up on this one. He still sits in 5th position. He's trying to chase down Jamie Hall, but he is in a dirty torque sandwich. It's Phil Lake chasing behind him.
Yeah, so Jamie Hall up there in 5th position, Tobias Gerber in 6th, and Phil Lake in 7th spot. Ooh, man, Jamie getting extremely held up by Miguel Castro, our 2nd place driver in the GTOs currently. This is going to give a great opportunity for Tobias. If he can hold on to that thing and keep that left rear tire cool enough to get traction, he's going to have an opportunity at Jamie Hall as they catch up to Yuko Leskala, our leader in the GTOs.
Yeah, we saw the smoke on screen, a giant lockup from Jamie Hall trying to stay out of the GTO car. Leskala in front of them. Definitely don't want to be rude with this number 5 car, because that is our current leader in the GTO class. Jamie Hall's going to get by, and Yuko knows the deal. He stays out of the way. Lets Tobias Gerber get through, and now Phil Lake is able to overtake. That's all 3 by.
Some great moves from those guys to get through and get through cleanly. That's Neil Andrews behind, who's also going to follow through. We're going to go to the P4 in the GTO, though, between Ove Trengrade and Christian Steinberger, because Steinberger starting to put on a show here.
Ooh, even going defensive. Ove clearly feeling a little bit under threat as they break into Lakaija. Could see the over-under. No, Christian can't get the launch off the corner. Trengrade still retaining that valuable track position here in Spain. They come off of Bonk Sabadell, and then it's downhill towards the front stretch.
Yeah, unfortunately, with the legacy layout of Lakaja, it makes it so it's really, really difficult to make any sort of over-under pass there. You have to really get to the inside, so covering off the inside tends to work. That was Steinberger almost going off track there as he exited onto turn 13 through Catalunya onto the front stretch. So Christian Steinberger really pushing right now to try and get Ove Trengere past.
That was Giotero who just went by the pair of them. Starting yet another lap and working their way through the frustratingly long Renault. They're going to be overtaken by Koivisto up next, and not at the most convenient of places. This is where it starts switching back and forth quite quickly.
Yeah, this is where things can get very difficult, and Koivisto has just had no luck with the Audi traffic today. It's not been through. And it seems like he doesn't understand when the Audis are going to accelerate, because if he could get himself to the outside of these corners and be able to get around. But unfortunately, it just looks like he doesn't really understand what the pace of the Audi is, so he can't maximize his maneuvers to try and get by.
Get one here. Yes, he gets into the inside.
Oh, we got to go to P2 in the GTPs because Siontra's just gone off track just a little bit on the exit of the final turn. Matthias Hovdal trying to make a pass around Sion on the outside.
It's a game of chicken down into the first corner. Hovdal around the outside, but with a nose ahead, and he's got it. Great stuff, just seeing the opportunity and stepping through the door as soon as he can. So Hovdal up into P2, a 2.5-second gap up to Fabian Gerber. Can he chase him down and stop him from a three-peat?
Yeah, they're just starting to re-lap the Audis one more time, as we haven't even reached halfway, so I think they're going to lap them 3 or 4 times this race. So they've just gone past Alexandra Caldayas, and they're about to catch up to Mike Tupola. Fabian Gerber just about 15 seconds up the road. That means it's going to be midway through next lap by the time he catches them. Oh, we've had a wreck by Peter Smith. The 4th position, I think he went off at 5.
Yep, that was down through Seat, unfortunately. And I think this was, an unforced error. Just outbraked himself, and unfortunately not a lot of runoff out of there, despite it being a slow corner. So he's going to have to try and collect himself and see if he can make up a few of those spots back. Doesn't look too damaged, thankfully.
Yeah, but unfortunately that's going to be front wing damage. It will affect his top line speed when he gets onto the front straightaway. So unfortunately, he's got a little bit of work to do there. We're going to go to P4 in the GTPs, though. This is Jamie Hall and Tobias Gerber just on the other side of the track, and they're now catching up to a couple of lap Audis. Look at that. Tobias having to dive to the inside of the track. This is going to put him on a little bit wide as they exit, and that's Phil Lake who was able to cut through as well. That was a sketchy move.
Watch from Phil's perspective, all of them just weaving down the front stretch, trying to pull as much of a slipstream as they can, but no change for position. I hate to pull us away so quickly, but if we go to Marco Lay, the number 33, he's in 11th, and there is a massive group of cars behind him.
Yeah, this is
with traffic.
Yeah, this is a big mess as they go into Lakaja. The Audis. Oh, that's going to be contact. Oh, that's a spun GTP around there. That's Jonathan Rickard.
Oh, and Don Peak, who is trying to work his way through in a big accident as Rickard gets hit again. Unfortunately, Oren Laskin finding himself with no place to go. So the 42 having a lot of damage, and poor Don Peak just in the wrong place at the wrong time, having to go off track to take avoidance. This is Rickard right here.
Now Rickard ends up making contact with the Audi, hits the brakes, and then gets punted, unfortunately, by, I believe that was Ben Laughter. And then watch right here, he gets T-boned by another Audi.
But to be fair, I think he probably should have locked up the brakes in that instead of trying to steer off the track. And, oh man, just incredible damage for him.
Well, Joe, if you thought that battle for 11th with Marco Lay was going to separate because of that wreck, you're wrong. They're still going.
Yeah, Letaniemi is the one that's up at the front of them now. He managed to get by Mark. Behind him, Ben Laughter, Hamill Smith, Pavlowski, all of them trying to see what they can do as they manage to get by Letaniemi, who must have had a bad shift coming off the corner.
look at this, 5 Audis just battling tooth and nail with each other. They've got Mark Materne behind them, who just can't find a way through either. These guys are just completely insane as they go through side by side. Are they going to go through 9 side by side? Here we go with Esco taking the position over Ben Lafter. Ben trying to do the over-under, but he can't get clear. This might give an opportunity to Roman Pawlowski, who's still trying to recover himself.
This feels more like a super speedway race, the way they're swapping positions. Letaniemi, if I can get his name out, looks to the inside of Ole, but it doesn't stick. Oh, big bobble from Mark, barely avoiding contact between the pair of them. A lockup heading into box Sabadell, and I think Letaniemi's going to have to give this one away to Lafter. No, he comes back at him with a great launch off the corner. Lafter almost doors him coming through Europe car, and they stay side by side, coming through New Holland and onto the front stretch. Once again, a better exit for the 23 car.
Yeah, as they go down to turn 1, it's going to be very, very close battling between these guys. And we got to go to the lead of the GTPs because Cy Andra and Matthias Hovdahl are absolutely there. And they might go 3 wide as they go into turn 1. This is almost about to catch up to that group up ahead. I can't imagine what's going to happen when they do.
Andra boxed in his rival and allows himself to get a chance at the lead as he looks to overtake Fabian Gerber, and he's got it. Hovdahl going to demote him 2 places potentially. He'll have the inside through Renault, but Gerber somehow finds the grip the long way around as they split on the either side of Toledano. They're going to leave him behind, thankfully, as they rush by. Hovdahl stays in 3rd. Gerber thinking about trying to re-attack down into Seat. He's got the inside. Can he make it?
Oh, no!
He's going to get tipped around as Hovdahl takes the lead. Andra miscalculated and finds himself getting into the back of Gerber.
Fortunately, Gerber does not have that much damage, so he should be able to get going once again. Just a little, oh my goodness. It was millimeters, Joe, millimeters.
Little bit of netcode, I think, as well, unfortunately. And some contact as Cy got clipped by Matthias. So hopefully he's not too damaged from that. Battle is still relatively on. Andro only about a second back.
Yeah, and these guys are now going to have a little bit of time before they catch up to that insane battle for 11th that we saw. But Cy Andra and Matthias Hovdahl are there. They have caught up to that 5 GTO battle on the front stretch, fortunately, so they should be able to get by, but look at this guy with cars. And here comes Cy Andra with a run. He might make it 3 wide.
He is, as he goes in between Hovdahl and Pawlowski. Once again, he's got better momentum as they break into Elf. Can he complete the pass? Yes, he can, as they also overtake some of the lapped GTP cars, just to make it even more complicated. Going around the outside, almost 3 wide once again as Ole and Letaniemi almost extended their fight, but back up to the lead. Cy Andra, now your top car in the GTPs.
I absolutely love this series for this chaos that it creates. Absolutely insane stuff. Cy Andra outbreaking himself a little bit into 5. Here comes Matthias Hovdahl with a decent run, but he can't quite get there. I'll see whether or not he can set him up into Lakaja. That's the next best passing opportunity.
We still have 16 minutes to go in this event. There's still plenty of racing yet to come as they fly through camp. So we look through the 007 cam of Cy Andra. Hovdahl chasing, riding in its tire tracks, but he doesn't dive his nose in down into Lakaja. He'll get more opportunities because up in front of them, it's another battle for position. This one in 9th between Shanahan and Happich.
We got to go to Jamie Hall and Fabian Gerber as they're trying to cut their way through that 10-car battle that we saw before. Look at this chaos that they're trying to navigate through as they try and go around the outside of the GTOs through turn 12 as they go into the final turns of the race. Oh my goodness, complete chaos here. Tobias going to take the inside. I believe Jamie actually taking the inside there. Oh my goodness, it's complete insanity.
And they're going to try to go around the outside. Thankfully, they're given just enough space as that actually checked up the fight between Ole and Kajanen. You can see him poking his nose out there. Oh, just at the same time as we have dives to the inside from Fabian Gerber and Jamie Hall. It's all kicking off here. It looks like Kajanen is going to get the spot away from Ole. So
but we got to go to the lead of the GTPs. Joe, Cy Andra, Matthias Hovdahl side by side as they got held up by Devin Donaghy. Here we go side by side as they dive down the sweeping left-hander. They're going to try and get each other as they go through 7.
Around the outside, Hovdahl still not giving it up, still trying it through Vert and almost making contact. A weave to the left from Syandra to keep from getting tipped, and he'll have to settle for second.
Phil Lake, unfortunately, has gotten collected by one of the lapping Audis. Unfortunately, he is now back in 10th position, 3 seconds behind Joseph Mudrack, so he's trying to recover as we watch this battle for first place. Matthias Hovdahl still retaining that position. Cy, unfortunately, falling back a little bit. We're going to go to the P3 of the GTOs, though, because it's close between Ove Trangrade, Reed Miller, and Christian Streitenberger.
Haven't been able to give a whole lot of love to the front runners here in this GTO class, and it's going to erupt because Reed Miller was poor off of New Holland. Streitenberger with a run. Will he look to the inside? He takes a little bit of a peek, then he comes back to the racing line.
Yeah, Streitenberger definitely in the best position here. Reed Miller having to look out his rear view mirror and his front. Oh my goodness, look how close that was. Almost contact between the two as they went into 3.
And this is about to be joined by that fight for the lead in our prototypes. What's going to happen here? Should catch them. Oh, it's a little look to the inside just as we cut away to Gerber and Hall. Fabian ahead in third.
Yeah, Fabian Gerber has made that pass on Jamie Hall. It's so intense battling all over the track. It's hard to know where to watch right now, but Fabian Gerber able to get that pass done. I can report that Joseph Mudrack has passed Stephen Workup for the 8th position as well. And we're going to go look at that. Look at this complete chaos as they're all trying to navigate through here. This is Phil Lake also trying to navigate through as he's tucked in behind Stephen Workup as they go around the outside of cars heading into 5. Phil trying to recover from that early spin.
This is that same group we keep going back to where it's Lay, Letaniemi, and many of them clumped together, and somehow the traffic that just keeps coming through is not separating them. Thankfully, this group able to get by and continue on their fight. Looking once again at the battle for third. Trangrade holding on to the last spot on the podium, but just.
Yes, he is, and now they're going to go past the crash car of Marty Ole, who unfortunately had a wreck as he exited Catalunya, got into the grass and spun to the inside wall. He's going to recover and keep going, but this battle is going to continue for third position. This is such a great battle for these GTOs to be able to have.
Once again, a big gain under braking for Reed Miller through the Elf chicane. So it looks strong there. Trangrade will have to make note of that to try and keep him back. Heading up into Renault, though, the car drops away. Miller not as good on those fast corners.
We're going to take a look at 7th for the GTPs. Neil Andrews just made the pass on Stephen Workup for that 7th position. Stephen Workup just made the pass on Joseph Mudrack for 7th position. Phil Lake now tucked in behind. We're going to jump on board with Phil Lake as we try and follow him through for Repsol.
Watch from the perspective of the number 4 coming up to the back of the Buckeye. Again, recovery drive here for Phil Lake with an off not too long ago. Heading down through Seat. He's just staying on the tail right now, just stalking that number 17. Very closely, as you can see, under braking, almost having to check up and stay out of the back of them.
And Streitenberger has just outbraked himself into Lakaija. Reed Miller was able to retain that position. We're going to take a replay of this because this was set up all the way off of 9. Look at this. Off of 9, Streitenberger goes to the outside, almost making contact with Jamie Hall as he was going around, but then he outbrakes himself into Lakaija, and Reed Miller is able to run away.
The difficulty of driving these cars has really been exemplified here today. As so many mistakes.
Oh, we've had a wreck between Yoni Kaija and Pablo Rangel. This was just about 30 seconds ago. This was coming through turn 9.
Oh no. That was such a good fight for so long. Here we've got the replay. Yeah, you're going to see it here. Side by side. Don Peak is watching. He's going to get an eyeful.
He's gotten an eyeful already twice today, Joe. Yeah, look at that. Pablo just ends up washing out just a little bit as they went side by side through that corner. And Yoni ends up crossing him over his nose, able to recover, but man, Yoni's day just goes from bad to worse.
Credit to Don for reading that situation well and keeping far to the inside. And that kept him out of trouble that time. As we see our number 1 continuing on, but in 11th. back up between Reed Miller and Ove Trangrade. He's dropped off of the Scandinavian and instead is playing defense on Streitenberger behind.
Yeah, Reed Miller's having a hard time getting through the corners at this point. I think he's run out of tires. Oh my goodness, look at this. Streitenberger's going to make the dive up the inside of the corner. Is he going to be able to whoa it up in time? Yes, he is. Reed Miller can't hold it on the outside. Can he? Still got just about a quarter panel's width. He's going to try and send it in to 12 here as they head through the corner. Streitenberger outbreaks himself once again, but gets a good run off the corner. That is Ove Trangrade, I believe, off track ahead of them. So this is now the battle for third.
Oh my goodness, I'm not sure what happened to Ove. We'll have to check on it a little bit later. They've got battles coming up behind them too, so this is going to get interesting. Mudrak chasing down Warcup as they almost go 3 wide. All of them almost 4 wide across the track. That is Mudrak to the outside in the yellow car and Reed to the outside in the red and white car as they all 4 break into Elf, and it looks like Warcup's going to retain his 7th spot, and Streitenberger gets into 3rd.
Oh, that was almost a big moment there for Phil Lake as he dove it up the inside of Streitenberger. This gives an opportunity back to Reed Miller, who's going to try and make the pass as they head towards 4, as they head towards Repsol. Is Reed going to try and outbreak Streitenberger? No, he isn't. He's going to try and set him up by going around the outside of the corner and inside a right front lockup for Streitenberger as they go through Repsol, but he's able to hang on to it.
Reed Miller's got to feel like there's got to be more than one way to skin a cat here. And with 9 minutes left, he's going to run out of opportunities soon. As they come down towards Vert, he's certainly putting the pressure on, but can he make it stick?
Streitenberger is taking a lot bigger risks than Reed. Reed is very consistent throughout these races. I'm sure a podium would be very welcome for him right now, but Streitenberger with a great exit off a 9. Reed Miller is going to have to hold up as they go into Lakaja. He's not going to be able to get there.
Down into that long left-hander, sweeping around. Streitenberger retains the spot. As all this has been going on, Leskala is still our leader, by the way, and Castro is well ahead in 2nd. Those two have probably had the most calm race of anybody here today.
We're going to go take a look at Yuka Leskala. I can also report, Joe, attrition has been big today. 11 cars currently out of this race. It's been chaos.
Now that's nearly a quarter of the field that have fallen victim to this track. Going down to 12th in the prototypes. Here's a driver we haven't looked at yet today, Cam Porter with Laust Olsen. Remember, he got clipped early on, got shoved around in this very corner they're entering. So he's trying to make up spots, and I think he's going to get a great chance as they come across Shanahan.
The question is, how much has the damage affected his straight line speed? He's not dropping into the draft with Cam Porter that much, so it must be affecting him a lot. He must know that he's not going to be able to get this pass done on the straightaway, so this is one he's going to have to do through the turns. We know Laust is tends to be very aggressive on his braking and acceleration. You can see him just falling off of Cam. He must have enough damage that's really affecting his drive here.
Certainly looks like it for the time being. Porter making himself safe off the corners. I'm also watching that fight between Mudrak and Lake. Warcup is able to distance himself there up in 7th, and instead Mudrak is looking in the mirrors.
Yeah, Mudrak's got Phil Lake, who's still trying to recover, remember, from that spin that happened just a couple of moments ago. Phil's got a little bit of rear wing damage, which is affecting his straight line speed just a little bit, whereas Mudrak seems to have a pretty clean machine. Phil, as you can see, just having a little bit of trouble getting through the final turn. And now he's tucked into the draft. He's not going to be able to get him into 1 unless he sends it way deep. But he is going to be able to close up once again. They don't have much lap traffic ahead of them to deal with as we go under 6 minutes to go here. Phil's going to have to do this on raw pace.
Considering this is exactly where he qualified, you have to wonder what it could have been for the number 4. As he comes down into Repsol, takes a little bit of a peek, but nothing will stick from that far back into that right-hander.
We've got quite a few battles actually erupting as we're continuing to watch this one. P3 and GTO is fairly close between those guys. Cam Porter and Laust Olsen also very close between them once again. For P12 in the GTPs, so these battles are not yet over with 5 minutes to go.
Lake so tantalizingly close to that bright yellow number 17. Oh, a big lockup in front of them from one of our GTOs. That could certainly distract Mudrack, but he manages it well. That was Warren Watkins in the 38, just trying to stay out of the way.
Yeah, I think Phil's hoping for a little bit of traffic to upset Mudrack, but I don't think he's going to get that opportunity necessarily. I think Reed Miller's thinking the same thing about Christian Steinberger. He needs some GTP to cut through and upset him, but I don't think that's going to happen necessarily. Phil Lake, once again, just a little bit too far back to make a move as somebody hits the grass up ahead of them as a GTO under braking. So any little thing can help Phil Lake try and make this pass, but Mudrack very composed and confident right now.
Certainly, this is an impressive drive if you ask me. One more GTO, that's Tupola, who's going to drift to the outside, forcing Mudrack to kind of change lanes there. Keep watching this, and I keep watching Streitenberger and Miller, half an eye on each, as though they are both split by about the same distance. They can so easily change with the traffic, and we've seen that multiple times today. Watching from Reed's perspective now, again, very strong through the first few corners, but look at him fall away here.
Yeah, Steinberger is really stretching his tire wear a lot right now. You can see him sliding on the entries of the corners, so his tires are crying for relief, but he keeps pushing it because he knows there's only about 2 laps left for these guys. So it's, you know, him pushing it right now, unless his tires completely fall off a cliff, he's not going to really have to worry about taking care of these things much longer.
One more time. They've got Don Peak behind him, waiting patiently. He sees the battle. He knows he's got to wait for a safe moment, and he's going to get it right there.
Yeah, it's greatly executed by Don Peak. The Audis are always going to wash wide through 9, so that's the best opportunity to try and get by them. He's going to have to wait until they go through 11 here. He gets a little bit crossed up as he gets tucked behind Christian as he's going through Lakaija. Through 11, this would have been an opportunity if he was still right on the back of him, but now he's going to have to wait possibly before as they go through the final corner and try and get him on the front stretch.
Nope, he's going to get past here. I was going to say, I was hoping we could get a look at the front of Peak's car, because I do really appreciate his paint scheme, which is Cookie Monster themed here. There it is right there.
Oh, look, we have a pass going on behind. That's Cam Porter and Laust Olsen, I believe. No, that's actually Mark Materne, who is a lap down car, but Laust and Cam still inseparable as they close up on this battle between Reed and Christian. Oh my goodness, almost contact between those two.
Yeah, it's getting a little intense now as they come down towards Repsol. Hard braking Streitenberger just at a horrible spot. He's going to lose a lot of time. Unfortunately for Laust, Porter is able to sneak through and not lose a spot.
And Christian may be losing a bunch of time, but Reed Miller's already 2 seconds behind because of the traffic. And Carlos Fonseca's the loser out of that scenario. He lost about a good second there on the outside of Streitenberger.
Oh, Workup had a problem because Mudrack is now right up beside him, and we might go 3 wide. Phil Lake has got the bit between his teeth. He's looking for a 2-for-1 deal, but he's only going to get 1 out of it as Workup successfully defends. They switch back as they go through the chicane, and Lake unfortunately finds Workup parked at the apex of Renault.
Workup with a great move there. Wow, Workup getting loose off the exit of 3. Fantastic move there to hang on to that thing. Phil Lake now tucked up behind them. Move Workup up into 7th and Phil Lake up into 6th. They've got 4 seconds ahead to the next guy, so unfortunately they're not going to catch him anytime soon.
And next time across the line, it'll be 1 to go for them because our leader, Matthias Hovdahl, is just crossing now with 30 seconds left to go. There he is, Matthias Hovdahl from 3rd on the grid, now with a decently big gap over Cy Andre at about 5 seconds.
Yeah, Hovdahl's been a good performer all season. It's going to be great to see him. It's going to be great to see him possibly in victory lane if he can get this lap done cleanly. That's Reed Miller, who he's streaking by, who's still 1.5 seconds behind Christian Streitenberger for that 3rd position in the GTO.
And I think this is going to, unfortunately for our GTO fight, going to leave only our leader ahead of him at the line. Meanwhile, World Cup retains 7th, but now it's Phil Lake instead of Mudrack who's chasing him. Is this going to be a different type of battle here on the final lap?
It's possible that Phil, I mean, you got to realize that that World Cup was behind these guys, so he's definitely got a better pace to be able to catch up to them, obviously not barring the traffic. Look at him flashing his lights at the GTOs up ahead, trying to let them know, hey, we're going to be coming through. We're probably not going to be kind about it because they are on their final lap.
Absolutely. They have to brake hard heading down into Sayat. Unfortunately, we're going to have to duck away from it because Matthias Hovdahl, I think this man knows how to win at high downforce tracks now. The number 9 takes the win here today at Barcelona. And indeed, Leskala is going to get a full lap to come on around.
We got to go back to P7 because Stephen Workup and Joseph Mudrack are now battling because Phil Lake actually made contact with the back of Workup as they went through 7 and 8. Oh my goodness, Workup losing traction on the rear tires. Oh, Mudrack tried to go around the outside. Phil has to lock it up as they go through 11. Here they go through 12 and 13. If Workup could just hang on to the car, he'll get the position, but he's got Yoni Kaijin on the apex of the final turn.
They come around. He swings around the outside. It's do or die, and that'll give 7th to Workup as Mudrack denies 9th to Phil Lake, and denies 8th, rather. Meanwhile, we've got Yuko Leskala just finishing the latter half of his lap.
And Joe,
go ahead.
I'm genuinely impressed with Yuko Leskala, but the man I'm most impressed with is Miguel Castro, taking that position on the first lap, taking the lead on the first lap, and being able to hang on to second with such a stacked field behind him. A fantastic race from Miguel, who has already finished, but Yuko coming around the final corners now.
As I said before, I suspect this, at least from our perspective, may have been the calmest race of just about everybody out there. Yuko Leskala off of New Holland will win yet another race here this season here at Barcelona. That's going to take us to a quick break here on the Global Sim Racing channel. We'll come back with the official results as well as driver interviews, so don't go away. Welcome back to Barcelona. This was a stunner out there, just nonstop action from start to finish. And Matthias Hovdal took his first win of the season among it all. Cy Andra followed him home after starting from fourth, and Fabian Gerber would have been more in the fight, but unfortunately a little bit of miscommunication in one part of the battle caused him to be tipped around. He settled for third in the end. Jamie Hall finished in fourth, with our pole sitter Tobias Gerber still looking for that first victory. He wound up fifth in the end. Neil Andrews, another one that we didn't really see a whole lot on screen, but a great job finishing sixth, ahead of Stephen Warcup, who had plenty of action to take seventh. He finished ahead of Joseph Mudrack in eighth, with Phil Lake wounding up ninth, exactly where he started. Kiyotaro was P10 and Hideki Koivista was 11th. Then it was Laust Olsen in 12th, followed by Cam Porter in 13th, Carlos Fonseca in 14th, the last driver on the lead lap. Heitor Sintes Gallindo was P15, Mark Materne was 16th, and Don Peak wound up 17th.
Hugo Leskala came home with the win very handily today, but not before Miguel Castro passed him on the first lap. Miguel able to retain second today, ahead of Christian Streitenberger and Reed Miller, who battled tooth and nail up until the final couple minutes of the race. Ove Trengrade had a very interesting off around the final turn that led him to get passed by Reed and Christian, so he ends up in fifth. Devin Donaghy had his own moment that ended up having him in sixth position. Robin Happage coming home in seventh. Escalotaniemi didn't talk about him much, but he was involved in a couple of the intense battles that we had down there in eighth position, with Yoni Kaijin having that early moment that ended up putting him in ninth position, unable to recover fully from that early incident. Brian Shanahan coming home in 10th, with Jamie Hamill-Smith in 11th. Fran Toledano going to come home in 12th today, with Ben Laughter in 13th after he had a tough race down there with those guys. Burke Triler coming home in 14th. Jose Manuel Cazone coming home in the 15th position, with Oren Laskin 16th, Mike Tupola 17th, and Warren Watkins, your last finisher, coming home in 18th position.
Looks like we have our winner in the GTP class ready to talk to us, Matthias Hovdal, who certainly made it fun out there to watch it. Matthias, fantastic battle between yourself, Cy, Andre, and Gerber. Tell us about it from your perspective.
Yeah, it was really, really intense. It was hectic with the traffic, and we were just swapping positions back and forth and really close. So it was just unfortunate there was a bit of a tap between Cy and Fabian, because I think that could have been a great three-way battle all the way to the checker. So
it looked like there were a few times where you were getting big clumps of traffic that everybody was hitting. What do you do? What's your thought process when you approach such an unpredictable situation, and how do you get through clean?
Yeah, so there's a couple of things you got to think about. Especially if you're not the first guy in line, you really have to watch what the guy in front does, and basically just follow him, because usually the GTOs will give him space, and if you go the other way, you're going to get cut off. But you also have to be mindful if the guy appears to actually pick the wrong side, like Cy did there when I passed him the final time, because that gave me the opportunity to go for it. So it's tricky, and there was a lot of hairy moments navigating the traffic, so there's always a bit of a gamble involved in that kind of stuff.
Well, happy to see you at the top of the podium for the first time this season. We didn't expect it to happen at a place like Spain, but did you?
I actually had pretty good pace here last time when we did the Grand Prix layout. But I didn't do the Friday race for warm-up or anything, so I wasn't really sure what to expect. So I was actually a bit surprised myself, but the car had really good balance, and especially when I was following right behind Cy, I was able to actually stay right behind him in those fast corners. I wasn't just getting understeer, so I think I really got a bit lucky with it.
Well, we look forward to seeing you again when we head to Phillip Island, and again, congratulations on the victory.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
That's Matthias Hovdal, our winner here today. Up next, Adam has caught up with Cy Andra, another one in that big fight.
Yeah, Cy, great battle with you, Matthias, and Fabian. But talk to me about that incident with Fabian. It seemed like it was just millimeters too close.
I'm a little embarrassed because I know that's a thing with the Nissans, and I knew about the hitbox issues in these cars, but I wasn't trying to fight Fabian. I mean, I thought like, oh my God, he held it around the outside of turn 4 and turn 3. I can't fight him around the outside of this corner. He has all the downforce, and I didn't. So I actually braked early, trying to let him by, so I wouldn't lose a place to Matthias, and then take the fight to Fabian another lap. And I didn't expect Fabian to check up in the middle of the corner because I think he overshot a little bit. But yeah, that was, like you said, millimeters.
Yeah, but aside from that, a great battle between all of you guys. Ended up with Matthias just being able to run away with it at the end. I know that you and Matthias were kind of talking a little bit before the race started about your qualifyings. What do you think made the difference today?
I just don't think my qualifying setup was as dialed in. I chose a more conservative setup with the detached rear roll bar. It makes the car less twitchy in the low speed stuff, but it definitely gives you more rotation in the high speed, and I think that's what compromised me. You could see on my second lap, I just pushed wide through the second and the final corner.
Well, Si, next week we head to Phillip Island, a very challenging track for this series, but one that we tend to visit with very exciting races, and it's also a 60-minute race as well. So what are your thoughts heading into that one?
It's a good track for me. I have setups, and I don't think it'll be a repeat of today.
Well, Si, is there anyone you want to thank for your second place finish today?
Thanks to Adam. He was basically my quote-unquote race engineer for this event, so shout out to him. As always, shout out to James for painting me this amazing car. I'd say that's about it.
All right, Si, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to seeing you next week at Phillip Lake.
Thank you.
And Si obviously was not talking about me. I was not his race engineer, but we're going to be talking to Fabian Gerber, who's caught up with Joe Peak.
Absolutely. Fabian, it's a third place today, but I sensed a bit of frustration in the text chat after the race. Tell us your end of that incident with Si.
Oh yes, it's very frustrating. I'm actually pretty sad about this one. It could have been a very good race between the three of us. I was a bit ahead, but lost a lot of time in the final turn, so they had the chance to attack me, and I could re-overtake him. I thought that was going really well, and I was on the inside and had to brake, of course, earlier to take that radius on such a tight corner, and I underestimated how much I had to slow down and hit me from behind. That was all.
Well, it still gave us a lot of entertainment in this race. It did surprise me that they caught you, because the first half it looked like you really had the measure of the field.
Yeah, I felt so too. I was actually really confident and felt this is running really well. I knew that traffic can come in between. That's always a thing, but it's difficult to overtake. So I was quite optimistic in this race. But then I got fourth. I could really overtake Jamie, so that was at least something well. So I finished in the podium, but still I have to finish in front of Si, not behind, for the championship. So it's going to be difficult for the final races.
Unfortunately, that breaks your streak there of wins. Do you think you can get back on the top step at Phillip Island?
I'll try, of course. It's a 1 hour race, so it's going to be tough. I'm usually not very good with the fuel stops, timing them and executing them in a perfect way, because I tend to forget to really practice them a lot. But last time in Phillip Island, I think I won, so it's a track I'm going usually well, so, and I really like it, so I really look forward to it and hope it's going to be a better one.
All right, we'll look out for you. That was Fabian Gerber, our third place finisher here today. We've got one GTO to talk to. I would have thought we'd have more, but Adam's going to be talking to Ben Laughter.
Yeah, Ben, not the greatest race for you, unfortunately, today, but some great battles you had on track. Talk to me about your day.
Yeah, I was worried about, being a lone all race. I just didn't have a rhythm, didn't have my setup dialed in, don't really care for the track. And I don't know, I didn't feel like I was going to be good going into the race. And then sure enough, I blow that braking zone, absolutely murder Esco. And I just wanted to come on here today and apologize to everyone for being crap today. But it was kind of fun to work my way through the field. I think I fell to 22nd twice. So that was kind of fun. But yeah, tough track, tough race for me. Definitely a drop week.
Yeah, it seemed like a lot of the GTOs. There was a ton of GTO battles today that we were able to feature. You were in a couple of those, and it seemed like even though this track is, I've driven it before, a horror for this car, it created some great battles for you guys.
I mean, you have to be. The straights are just 10% too short for the Audi, and it puts it to where for you to make the pass, you've got to make an extra aggressive dive bomb, and I don't know that the extra aggression makes for good racing. I think it makes for a good broadcast, but maybe not good racing. You've just got to have your head on a swivel. And, Roman and I came together at one point, just being aggressive with one another. And, it's just, I don't know if it's good racing. I think it's a good show.
Well, it was definitely exciting to watch for sure. And next week we head over to Phillip Island, not Phillip Lake, but Phillip Island. And what are your thoughts heading into that track? I know that it's not the best for the Audi as well.
Nah, Phillip's great. By the way, Phillip is also great. Phillip Lake is going to win next week. I can tell you right now. As long as you guys don't say his name, he'll win. The second you say his name, he crashes.
All right. Well, be sure not to do that.
Yeah. No commentators curse on poor Phil next week. But no, Phillip Island's fun in the Audi. It's got a couple of really good spots where you get to really use that four-wheel drive, and it's got a lot of elevation changes, a lot of character that something like Barcelona, which is made for Formula One hot lapping, just doesn't have.
Well, Ben, obviously not your best finish today, but still an exciting race to watch, and thanks for joining us up here. Is there anyone you want to thank before we let you go?
I want to thank everybody for not finding me and murdering me this week. It was just not a great week, and I want to appreciate the Kamel GT community for always putting on a good race, even when I don't.
All right, Ben, thanks for talking to us, and we look forward to seeing you next week. That was Ben Laughter, who finished down in the 13th position in the Audi GTOs. Back to you, Joe.
Well, that wraps things up for our interviews. So we want to thank the Kamel GT community for bringing us back for another season of coverage. But also, I want to thank the companies that provide the software and the hardware for our broadcast listed here on your screen. Additional thanks go to June Lalonde, who provides our wonderful music. Her Bandcamp is listed at the bottom if you want to find some more of her work. And thanks to the team today, Adam, Sean, and Dougie. If you'd like to find out more about GSRC, including upcoming races, you can find it at globalsimracingchannel.com. Or you can check out our social media on Twitter at GSR Channel, Facebook at Global Sim Racing Channel, and Instagram at GSRC_Graham. If you'd like to support us, check out our merchandise store, which is simply gsrc.storenv.com. We keep a link in the description below so you can get there very easily. As we mentioned, the next race is going to be at Phillip Island. That'll be Saturday, February 20th at noon Eastern. But we have upcoming races for other series listed on the screen. So check those out and mark them down on your calendar. And if you stay tuned, we got a big one coming up. The Majors Team Endurance Championship is going to Monza, and it'll be at the combined course. That'll be 4 p.m. Eastern. Don't miss that one. Until next time, though, race clean, race hard. We'll see you on the track.